Six Flags Great America offers one of the strongest coaster lineups in the entire world. And if you're like me, then you're probably wondering what type of coaster could come next. Not only are you going to learn about how I rank each roller coaster at Six Flags Great America, near the end of the video, I'm going to share with you my predictions on what type of roller coaster that we could see come to the park next, and where at in the park it could be located, and finally, when it will open. Starting off the rankings, we have number 15, Sprocket Rockets. This is a great coaster for the younger thrill seekers as they get the best view of Goliath, period. Number 14, the Little Dipper. I think Six Flags really surprised a lot of people when they relocated this classic coaster to the park in 2010. While it's not the best roller coaster here, it's a solid family ride that I highly recommend riding. Number 13, American Eagle. Lord help this Intamin. After riding the park's roughest wooden roller coaster on my most recent trip, I need to know what year did they stop racing, because it appears the side furthest from the park hasn't been used in years. Now, I actually really enjoy this coaster, but I totally support Team RMC Eagle. Just imagine all the great things that can be done with this layout. Number 12, Dark Knight. This coaster offers hardly any breaks, which is never a bad thing, and the whole experience is a lot of fun. And in my opinion, anytime you place a roller coaster in a giant box, good things usually happen. Number 11, Demon. Every park should be required to offer a classic aero looping coaster. I really love the tunnel as the train leaves the station, and of course the interactions with all the rock work. While Demon will bang your head around a little bit, the double corkscrew over the train tracks is just a great visual. Number 10, Joker. Now, some of you know that SNS free spins are not my favorite thing in the world, but the ride I had when we loaded the left side of the track here at Great America offered a ton of flips. Like, if every ride gave that same exact ride experience that we had, then Joker would definitely be top 3 in this park. It was that good. But sadly, it's all based on weight distribution, so a little luck won't hurt. Number 9, Superman Ultimate Flight. This is a very fun flying coaster that offers a riding experience that you can't find at most parks. And I have been lucky enough to have ridden every B&M flying coaster here in America, and all I can say is, it's time that we get a new Vekoma flying coaster. Number 8, X-Flight. While I like the B&M wing coasters way more than their flyers, if you're not talking about Thunderbird, then it's really nothing to hype up. Though, I will say, I really love the interactions that X-Flight had with its supports and the theming. X-Flight is definitely a solid ride that offers great capacity. Number 7, WHIZZER. It's a classic and it's a Schwarzkopf. What more reasoning for this placement do you really need? On top of that, I love that the coaster just offers a seatbelt. I have always enjoyed the WHIZZER and its unique layout through the woods, and I hope that it stays around for decades to come. If you like this type of ranking video, then you have to check out some of my other ones for parks like Cedar Point, Hershey Park, Busch Gardens Tampa, and Carowinds. Now is where I really had to put some deep thought into these rankings. Number 6, Batman the Ride. I really love the Batman clones, and while I still think Over Georgia's Batman is by far the best one, you got to love this one due to the landscaping around the ride. From the trees to the pond that you skim over, Batman the Ride at Great America is such an intense roller coaster that needs to be experienced twice, once in the front row and once in the back row. It's truly amazing how successful Batman was for not only Great America, but Six Flags in general, as well as the entire industry. And I recommend that you learn a little bit more about the history of the inverted roller coaster by watching this video. Trust me, you're really going to love it. Number 5, Raging Bull. This B&M Hypercoaster is ranked in this spot simply due to the coaster's first drop when you're in the very back row, because that drop into the tunnel is damn near perfect. I've always liked Raging Bull due to its uniqueness, since it's one of the only hypercoasters that offer a non-out and back style layout. And my advice is don't sleep on the Bull because it's a great ride. Number 4 might be a shocker for some of you, but I have flash vertical velocity in this spot. And the main reason why is I have a soft spot for these intimate impulse coasters. That's how much I love these things. This ride experience is just intense all around, and you really can't find it at many parks anymore. I also really love the placement of the shuttle coaster and how it goes out over the water. And just like Batman, be sure to ride vertical velocity twice, once in the very front and once in the very back. And now it's time for my top 3 favorite roller coasters at Six Flags Great America. Number 3, Viper. I don't know how this wooden coaster, which offers a mirror layout of the original Cyclone, can be so good. After all, Viper was built completely in-house by Six Flags. I just don't get it. But yet, Six Flags hit a home run with Viper because the airtime in both the front and the back car is just glorious. Seriously, do not pass up an opportunity to ride this awesome wooden coaster. But be aware, it might take you about 5 hours to navigate through the ride's long queue line. Number 2, MAXX Force. S&S really delivered with this coaster. I really love the launch and the unique dog tongue element. But what made me really love MAXX Force is its very impressive heartline roll. I don't know if I've ever experienced an inversion out there that offers this much velocity as you go through the element. Not only was MAXX Force's heartline roll insane, as you're going through the element, it appears that you could hit Tsunami Surge as you're flying right by it, which is Hurricane Harbor's water coaster. And in my opinion, it's such an awesome visual. MAXX Force, while short, is one of the most adrenaline-filled roller coasters in the entire world. And finally, number 1, and that has to be Goliath. And what do you know, RMC has done it again. Now I must admit, going into riding this, I really was nervous I wouldn't really like it as much due to how short the layout is. But after I rode it around 8 different times, I gotta say it's a top-notch coaster. Now remember, size isn't everything, and each of the elements on this coaster is just perfect. Goliath offers a great first drop into a tunnel, and then you have the awesome overbank, then the crazy airtime hill that leads into the dive loop, which all leads up to the main element that Goliath offers. And that of course is the stall. And it's honestly my favorite inversion out there, and that alone solidifies Goliath as my number 1 roller coaster at Six Flags Great America. Now that you know how I rank each roller coaster at Six Flags Great America, it's time for you to hear what I think could come to this park next. With the recent trends of what Six Flags has done as of late, I think either an RMC single rail or a B&M dive coaster would be a very smart guess as to what's coming. But pump your brakes a little bit, because one thing to consider is those ride decisions were made prior to the chain's new CEO. Which brings me to this: does Salim Basal have a different plan of attack for the parks going forward? I honestly think he really wants to, but then he will eventually see how both Cliffhanger at Fiesta Texas and Wonder Woman at Magic Mountain will have paid off the chain and those parks respectively, because you get a ton of thrill without the huge price tag. For marketability purposes, a B&M mini dive absolutely makes the most sense for Great America, and I think that is exactly what they could and should get. A coaster like this, while it won't be the best in the park, will get people talking, and that is what it's all about. As for where this could go, I think we have to keep our eye on the center of the park, where the old Buccaneer Battle attraction was, and where the Winter Circle go-karts currently sit. What I would love to see is Great America create a new pathway that would connect both sides of the park in this general area. And then you have the new dive coaster interact with the midways around it. As for when Six Flags Great America could get this, that all depends on how ambitious this new CEO is, and quite frankly, how long he'll be the top dog at Six Flags. So I think Great America could get their next coaster as early as 2024, with an outside shot of 2025. There you have it, my Six Flags Great America coaster rankings and future coaster prediction. What are your thoughts on my predictions, and what are yours? Also, how do you rank the coasters at Great America? Be sure to let me know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and keep riding coasters.